time. Why did we choose time as our topic? Well, you should take the time to find out. Time, honey. What's the time? What is the importance of this time? What time are you talking about? We don't have much time, by the way.
You're hitting.
I'm hitting my. There's no watch there.
I don't even own a watch. When's the last time you saw me wear a watch?
Over 20 years?
Right? That's the last time I wore a watch.
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's not important to me. What you know that.
All right, and you only wore it because it was a gift
At that time.
at that time.
Mhm.
Time.
Time. So important. There's a song. It was go like time after time or something like that.
Yes.
I just kept repeating time after time over
Yes.
like so many times. Anyway.
Yes, okay.
So why are we talking about time?
Uh-huh.
So I'll pose a question to you.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, you want to accomplish something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've set a goal to, for example, you're going to go pick up you're going to pick up our kids from school.
Okay.
And you know that you should get there by a specific.
Time.
So now, if you're engaged in doing something,
Mm-hmm.
and in the back of your mind you're thinking, ooh, but I have to be over here by a certain time,
Mm-hmm.
what starts to happen if you don't finish what you're doing the closer you get to the time you're supposed to be there? How do you start to feel?
Rushed, panicked. What other emotions have I felt? Like there's just not enough time in the day. I won't get it done.
So why are
I've
you feeling
experienced
that
all
way?
those. Because I'm focused on the time.
So what does time do to someone?
Depending on how they view it, it could make them feel like they're constantly under pressure and stress. Or they might say, oh, I've got all the time in the world. They just enjoy life.
Now you get the point, right? So here's my question for you.
Okay. Another one?
How often times do you see me, time again, right? How often times do you see me bothered about time,
Never.
right?
Well,
Why do you think that is?
because you just know everything will always be taken care of the way it's supposed to be and the time that it's supposed to be done.
Well, the moment,
In the moment that it's supposed to be done.
right? Now, when you say that I know it will be taken care of,
Uh-huh.
what do you mean by that?
Well, you know that if you're engaged in doing something, a project or something, you know that if you have a deadline for it because you've got to be somewhere else, then it will just be done. You're not going to be constantly thinking about, oh, what time is it? Oh, I have to hurry up or anything like that. You just keep working and it happens every time. You finish and it's time to move on to the next
No,
thing.
there are times when it's not finished, actually. And
Oh.
what do I say then, or what happens then?
You'll come back to it.
Exactly.
It's not a big deal.
Now, why is it not a big deal? If you remember our conversations when that happens.
Because it happened for a reason. There was a reason we weren't supposed to finish.
You got the point again.
Then when you come back, you find out why. You're like, oh, I missed that earlier. And then
Well, normally it happens when we're out, right? That's what I'll do.
we have a lot of aha moments when we're out.
That's correct. Because I get the answers that I require to finish the project that wasn't completed.
Right.
So then how often do you see me stressed because I'm doing something and it's not done, or I want to finish it within a certain time frame?
You don't.
And the big explanation is because I don't focus on time.
Right.
So why don't I focus on time? Because I understand that my partners, the members of my team,
As in your spiritual team?
That's the only team I have.
Just
Right.
making sure our viewers don't know that.
Okay. My spiritual team, where they operate, there is no time. So when they're working with me to help me, they don't have a deadline. They don't have a time frame because time does not exist in the spiritual realm. I understand that. So I know that this solution will come once enough karma has been balanced. See, if you want to focus on time, that's really the time right there. Because once the karma is cleared for something, then the solution arrives. You clear the karma, bang, all of a sudden, whatever you feel was an obstacle is no longer there. Because it was that karma that's creating the obstacle. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
So now, here are people in our daily lives, and I see this a lot, where I've heard people say, okay, I'm going to try this. I'll try it for a week, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to quit. From your experience, and I know you've heard that, you've had experience people saying things like that, what normally happens to those individuals?
They normally quit.
When?
Even before the week is up.
Why do you think that happens?
Because they put so much stress on themselves and placed, I want to say goals, but it's not goals, but they placed a deadline on themselves, and when they feel like they're not hitting that, then they just give up.
So where did they come up with this whole deadline idea?
That's a mass consciousness thing. That's been in society for a long time. Whether you have deadlines you have to meet, and you know, people expect you to get things done within a certain time frame. It's just
And now we're not saying that you shouldn't do that, right?
right.
As a matter of fact, we always tell individuals, you should plan and set your time frames because you live in the physical realm. However, don't make them concrete. Know that because your help is coming from the spiritual realm, your time frame can change because you don't know what's going on in the spiritual realm. So put a deadline if you want, but be flexible with it. As long as you know you're doing what you're supposed to. You don't put a deadline and don't do nothing, and then just do nothing, right? And say,
Right.
well, with the spiritual realm, I have to be flexible with time, so I'll just make it a week, and after a week, it doesn't work out because you've done nothing. Then you just make it another week. You say, well, that's just the way it is. There's no time in the spiritual realm. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you do as you're guided, and then you'll see how things work out. You don't stress out about it because you know that time is not really tied to it. It's all about you doing what you're supposed to do spiritually. Accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish spiritually to have that obstacle removed for you to move on to the next level. Am I making sense with what I'm saying?
Yes.
Sure, what did I just say?
You basically
Rephrase for me.
just said you set your time plan in place. But know that once the karma has been balanced in regard to that situation, then it might happen sooner or it might happen later than what you had planned. But it will happen once the karma is balanced.
That's correct. And here we give you tools to get rid of karma quicker, right?
Right.
So it could happen quicker than you expected. Now, what happens with individuals? For example, they might start saying a decree, right? Or an affirmation for something. Or they might even ask for healing. And then they get a message, oh, healing work was facilitated for you today. And then after 2 days they say, I'm still not healed yet. And then all of a sudden they say, well, you can stop doing healing work on me now because this doesn't work. What's the story there?
It takes time. And
Why?
that karma has not been completely balanced then.
So what do you think is going on with these individuals? Why they would do that?
Oh, because they have an expectation of like what is in a society, instant gratification. It should be happening right now. It should not be taking any longer than right now.
So they put a time frame on it, right?
Right.
They expect it to happen within a day or 2 days or 3 days to get the result that they want. And if they don't get it, then it's like they have all these questions. But these same individuals have been going to doctors, all these different types of doctors for years. And yet still they never said that what the doctors are doing isn't working. They
Right.
still keep going there.
And they still keep taking medication for a certain period of time. And when that doesn't work, then they go get another one, or they take other tests and things,
And they don't quit.
right?
But when they're dealing with the spiritual realm, they give it a time frame. They don't tell the doctor, I'll give you 3 months to prove
Right.
if what you're doing works. They just keep listening to the doctor. Now, we're not doctors, we're not saying that. All we're saying is, you see how they're placing time frame on the spiritual realm that doesn't operate with time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're dealing with individuals that operate with time, like the Western medicine doctors, they don't place any time on them. They could take as long as they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right? Why do you think that is?
Because they can physically see what a doctor is doing. They can see the test results. They can see it all. It's tangible. But the spiritual realm, they can't see anything. They don't know what's happening. It's like all going on behind a curtain, if you will.
Now, is it possible that because they've been told or they've read stories about all these healers and like Jesus that heal people right there as soon as they showed up, that they're thinking, oh, as long as God is involved, I'll get healed immediately,
Yes,
or
I
I'll be
think.
fine immediately.
Yes, I do. I think that has a lot to do with it.
So this goes back to how society has painted this picture of what they should expect if they go to the spiritual realm for help.
I think so, because all that was written about were the instantaneous healings. I don't recall any healings ever being written about in the Bible that took time.
Well, not in the Bible, but if you ever read about Edgar Casey, is that his name?
Uh-huh, Edgar Casey, yep.
He's renowned for helping people heal,
Mm-hmm.
but some people took months to
Yes.
heal. Some people took years to heal,
Uh-huh.
but they got healed.
Right, and there are other, individuals similar to, Edgar Casey, who worked in the spiritual realm, if you will, that had patients of theirs, as they called them. It took a long time for them to heal. It wasn't just an instantaneous thing.
Now, do you think that they had individuals that went to him for help that also quit before they got healed?
Probably.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because again, mass consciousness, I need to have instant gratification. It's got to work in my time frame.
Right? They put a time on that. Time. Do you see how deadly it can be?
Yes.
You see, so the moment you place an expectation and you put a time frame on anything,
Mm-hmm.
without you knowing, you could have placed unnecessary stress on yourself.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, you feel like you have to deliver on whatever it is you promised. If you promised someone, I'll get this to you by next week.
Mm-hmm.
Or now, if you are, well, I better have this improvement or this result by next week.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm not interested, or this doesn't work. Or maybe there's something wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put time. Even though there's a saying out there, a very common saying that goes what? Everything happens on
God's
God's time. Even though God doesn't have a time, but that's a saying, right?
Right.
So even though people say that saying, they forget about it when it comes to them and their desires.
Right.
Time. In the physical realm, people have put so much importance on it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the spiritual realm, it does not exist. Which one is most effective? The spiritual realm or the physical realm?
Definitely the spiritual. For me.
I was going
From
to
my
say,
experience.
make sure that you qualify that, right? For your experience, is the spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm.
But we already know that anything that materializes in the physical starts in the spiritual.
Right.
All right? Again, we don't know how long something will take because we don't know how much karma you have to balance.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that if you think about the fact that in the spiritual realm there is no time, then it becomes easier for you to enjoy your journey with whatever you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because you understand that it's just a matter of clearing karma. And the obstacle will be removed and you'll be fine. So how do you deal with the karma? Well, violet flame the sucker, right? Just keep saying a violet flame. And as you do that, the karma is being balanced. And before you know it, whatever it is that you expect will be there. The key thing is, don't give up because you have placed this unnecessary time frame on yourself or this deadline on yourself. You are trying to work with the spiritual realm, but dealing with it as if though it's physical, and the two don't mix. It's like that water and oil analogy that I always use, right? So I just wanted to say that
Okay.
if you're going to enjoy life, learn to leave time alone and just enjoy the moment and know that whatever you need to get done will get done. And if something is not finished when you think it's supposed to be finished, that means your thought was not accurate. That doesn't mean that it won't get finished. It just means that you, with your physical realm thinking, chose the wrong time. In the spiritual realm, it's still operating. It hasn't stopped.
Okay.
Anything you want to add to that?
It's time to go. We'll see you in the next video.
Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.